All right. Well, I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Thiago. I'm a CSM here at TagoIO together with Klaus to present this webinar for you. Today, we're going to be talking about major releases that we did on the last week is getting around especially UI and UX. So now, as you can see, we are able to create amazing, beautiful applications with very nice color schemes and have a way bigger margin than we had before and are able to customize our dashboard intensely. So what I did here on mine, for example, so you have an idea, I changed the background here on my sidebar. I was able to use some of the colors that I actually used on my dashboard. I created a pattern for my buttons and my tabs and call to action figures inside my application. So it creates a comfort environment. My user can come here, he sees what's going on, he understands, it looks nice and it's fast, and we can be very productive with it. Well, with no further ado, before we start, I would like to let you all know that you can feel free to present yourselves on the chat. And if you have any questions during this webinar, we can also address them on the end of the session. Also wanted to remind that this session is going to be recorded. So in case you need to go back and follow a certain step they missed, not to worry, we're going to send the links out to you and we can address that. Well, I think this is all on my end. Passing over to Klaus. Klaus is a software developer that will be joining us today in this presentation. You got it, Klaus.
Thanks, Thiago. I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Let me know if it's working.
Sounds good. All right.
All right, can you see my screen? All right, thanks. Hey, everyone. Like Thiago said, I'm Klaus. I'm a front-end developer here at TagoIO, and I'm very excited to be talking today about application customization. In the screen, we have the main talking points for this webinar. We're going to start right off with customization, which I'm going to be doing live as a demonstration of the new features that Thiago mentioned. We have now an admin for customizing the look of your applications. The demonstration will cover dashboards and widgets customization, not only in colors. I will also be giving some helpful tips about a few things that will definitely improve your applications visually and functionally for your end users. After customizing the dashboard, we're going to move to customizing the Run application with a new Run Colors feature. Your Run is the main access point for your end users to access your application and make it visually consistent with your customized dashboards is now a very easy process thanks to Run Colors, which is a new feature we have just rolled out this week. Lastly, but not least important, we're going to be introducing the new automated process for configuring your custom domains. And although I'm not going to be demonstrating that live here, I will show you the new screens and give you an overview on how simple it is to move from our default run.tago.io domain and have your users access your Run application through your own domain, such as portal.mycompany.com. All right, let's get started. Not only our dashboards are very customizable, we are constantly bringing in new features to provide better tooling to make it easier for anyone to customize not only their dashboards, but most of what's in TagoIO Run regarding text and interface. Your end users see more than just dashboards and widgets. The entire interface for TagoRUN now has a very rich feature set to customize the overall look of your runs. I'm going to be showing now the end result for both our dashboard and Run, and then you see how it looks like by default in contrast with what we are going to achieve here. So in the screen, we have now the end result of our demonstration for a customized dashboard. You can see that I have chosen a main color, which is this shade of purple right here. which I'm going to be using with some tone variations as the main color for our widgets or run and our dashboards in general. I have also chosen a dark background for this demonstration, which you can see right here on the dashboard itself. And that's for a specific reason. It gives some nice contrast with the widgets, which has this light background. And it also gives a nice idea of the contrast difference we have here. In admin, we have this light background for the interface in the page header here and the sidebar here. It's everything in a white background. And this dashboard might look a bit off since it has a dark background. In a default TagoRUN, you also have this by default. In a default configuration for a run application, you will also have a light background for the sidebar and the page header and the page backgrounds themselves. And also you have this color here on the navigation bar, which in admin is our default color, but in run is a dark blue. So you can see this is the dashboard customized inside admin. And in the next screen, we have the end result of our customized run. Now you can see that the sidebar, the navigation bar, and the page header, which shows the dashboard title in this case, everything is in this dark color that I have chosen because it looks very well tied together and consistent with the visual identity we have created in this dark theme with this purple accent color. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the hands-on parts of this webinar, where I'm going to be showing you how to achieve these results. And it's going to be very quick and very easy because we have new tools to deal with problems we had, such as customizing widgets individually. And I'm going to be showing you the new and fast way to do it. I'm going to be switching my screen here to the dashboard. Can you let me know if everything's okay here, Thiago?
We got you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have the initial dashboard, which in contrast with the other dashboard we had is very bland. So I already have my dashboard set up and ready to be customized without having to create each of the devices and sending all the necessary data. And I also have a few widgets set up here just so we can customize them, but they're all very simple. It's just a few icon widgets here below, an image widget. Here I have a device list, which is a very cool widget. I have a static table right here and a map. As a side note here, there's a very cool webinar presented by Matt, who is another front-end developer here at TagoIO. He covers all the details on creating dashboards and setting up widgets with some features such as dictionaries. I highly recommend that everyone wanting to improve the presentation on their dashboards to watch that webinar as well. It's readily available on our YouTube channel. Matt goes a bit further in some details regarding widgets customization, such as dictionaries, like I mentioned, and I will not be able to cover everything due to the scope of this webinar, so it's a nice complementary watch. Okay, so here we have our initial dashboard, which looks very bland in its default colors. That's not a bad thing by itself, but we wanted to match the visual identity of our company or a main theme for our application. I'm going to start off by customizing this icon widget right here. And I will be changing its header bar to a purple color. So I'll toggle edit mode here and click on the widget menu and go to edit. So in this widget's colors, I will be changing only the header bar, and you will understand why in just a few seconds. I'm going to use this color here. So I will save it. And now we have this widget customized. You can see here that we have an option to copy the colors here from another widget, but I will be showing a very fast way to do it, because if we choose another widget, such as this other icon widget, I could come here and copy it and select this dashboard or even another dashboard. For example, this is the delivery details dashboard. So I can choose it and I can choose another widgets such as these. But this one by one can be quite time consuming. So I'm going to show the fast way to do it, which is applying these colors to all widgets. In the widget menu, we have this new option here. It has just recently been released in the past few weeks. And you can use this setting to apply the color from this widget to all other widgets or only to the widgets of the same type. If I choose only to the widgets of the same type, you can see that it only copies the color from this icon widgets to the other icon widgets. I'm going to cancel because I don't want this. What I want is to apply the color to all widgets. So all widgets will have this header bar color we have just chosen. So I'm going to apply it. And now we have this very cool preview mode. It's very powerful. If we had more widgets below here, we could scroll down and see more widgets. But since we don't have more widgets down here, we can also see that I can preview on other tabs. So this widget from this other tab has this previewed color, which we just chose. So we can apply it since it's the desired results. So I'm going to click apply here. And now all of our widgets have the same header bar color. Okay, so next, what I want to customize is the footer of this widget. If you think about what I just did, I copied the color from an icon widget, which has only a few colors. It has the header color, the background color, and color for buttons, and the dots as well. But it doesn't have a footer color like this widget does. If we choose this widget, we can see that similar to a widget like the dynamic table, we have not only header background, we have footer color as well. And we can colorize each of the columns header and the alternate color, which is the other lines. I'm going to choose another color here. I'm going to pick the same color I had chosen before. And I'm going to be showing you a very cool tip. If you want to choose a different color, but just slightly, you can select another color from the picker here. You can just choose a lighter tone or anything like that. But since I want to customize it differently, I'm going to be doing it like this. I'm going to be showing you that you can switch the color representation value here by clicking on this button. And you can choose this value here, which is HSL. It might look intimidating, but the main value we are looking for is this last one. This last one is a value called lightness. Lightness is just what it means exactly. If you reduce this value, you will get a darker tone for your color. And if you increase it, you can get a lighter tone. This is what I want. Using the picker, you might get a different color since you can go over here and it might get a little bit inconsistent since you are doing it a lot in different widgets. So if you just want a lighter color or a darker color, you can just choose this value here and modify it. And either way, it's fine to use any of these methods. I'm going to use this one since it helps keep colors consistent. And I don't have to copy it from something else. Okay, so I'll select this color. And now we have customized the footer of this device list widget. Since it has the footer color I want, and I mentioned that we are going to customize this very quickly, I'm going to be copying the color of this widget to all other widgets. If I did select to only the same type, I can see that this is a dynamic table, so we don't copy it to these widgets. So what do I want to do here? I want to apply these colors to all other widgets, because since I only customize the header, which all widgets already have configured, applying to all widgets will only copy this footer color to widgets that use a footer color. If I look at the preview here, now the dynamic table also has this light background color, which I have chosen. And it's very fast to do it. Like I only needed to change color for one widget, and then I apply to all widgets, and then I change another color here and apply to all widgets again. It's 4 steps instead of configuring each widget one by one. So the last modification I want to do regarding widget colors here is to change the color of the title bar on this image widget right here. Because we don't need it. It's just an image. If I remove the color by clicking on this button, you can see that it turns into a semi-transparent bar. This widget has no title, and I just want the image. So another cool tip I have here is that you can choose a color. It doesn't matter which, and you can just choose reduce the opacity of this color. You can get the same result as before, like this, but you can remove it entirely. Now, if I save this widget, here we go. Now our image widget is just a box with the image, which looks quite a bit nicer. This dashboard is mostly configured, but I only configure the widgets. So I want to configure the dashboard now. We have the background, like we can see on the preview. We just saw on the preview, and I can choose it right here. So I'm going to be using a predetermined color here. It's this one. And another cool tip I have is that if you're choosing to select an image on your dashboard as a background, you should select a color before and save it, a color that matches your image, because until the image is loaded, your users will see this default color, and then the image will match it, and it will be less of a shock. If you choose a dark image and you leave this color like a lighter tone, such as white or gray, it will flash when the image is fully loaded. So once you select this color here, we are done with this part of the customization. I'm just gonna save just so you can see the result. Okay, so if you remember from the end result of our dashboard, we also selected some colors for the tab bar. These settings are specific to dashboards, but I'm going to come back to these points a little bit later on. I'm going to configure the dashboard tab bar colors now, and I'm going to be choosing the same color for the tab background here. And for the inactive color, I will also choose the same color, which is a grayish, if you can see it, it's a dark gray. For the active color, I will be choosing the same color as our main color. And if we think about it, it's kind of bright. So another tip that I have here is similar to the changing the lightness value here, but I'll change the saturation. So it will get a little to the left side here, which is a little bit grayish. So I will save it and we'll see the end result. So it looks quite nice. If it looks well tied together for our application, we chose this as our main color, and we have it a little bit less saturated here, and it brings a little bit less of the user's attention, which is the main scenario we are looking for here. We have this dark background, but our widgets still have this lighter background color. This is because for a design decision, from a designer's standpoint, your user's eyes will be brought right to the widgets instead of other elements. So this is why it was chosen this way. I would also like to bring up another point, which is some widgets have a few different color settings, but one that all widgets have in common and is individually configured is the color of the header buttons. If I click on this widget, for instance, I can configure the color of this header button right here by clicking on this header button section, and I can change it here. I'm not going to be doing this for this demonstration because I think it looks quite nice this way. So for the main part of the colors configuration in the widgets, that about covers it, but we still have to customize a few more things. I'm going to be showing another part of customization, which is not regarding colors, but it's very important to do in some applications. I'm going to be selecting this other dashboard, which I'm going to be configuring very quick. So I'm going to be repeating these steps. I'm going to be selecting one widget. I'm going to be choosing a header bar color for this one, which is the same color we had before. And I'm going to save. And again, I'm going to be applying to all widgets. And now we have all widgets looking with the same color here. So the other customization I would like to mention that not everyone knows about, it's we can give a different name for some of these variables we have using here in each of the widgets. Like I mentioned before, I have also already recommended a video on dictionaries, which can be used to customize your application for users in multiple languages. But I'm going to be showing you this customization that is very helpful to make your application clearer for your users and can be used in single language applications as well. So if we go here to the edit of this chart type widgets, we can see that our variables we get the data from are represented here below. We don't want our users to see that because it can be confusing. It has underlines, it has a graph before. I don't understand what this is, but it's generated by an analysis. So what I can do here is just click on the variable I want in this cog icon, and I can select an alias or label. It's called in both ways, but you can just see that this is a graph operator working variable. So I'm just going to call it working. And we can see that we can change the color of this bar as well. So I changed this variable name, and I'm going to change this one as well, which is graph operator idle. So I'm going to call it idle, and I'm going to save. Now we can see that in contrast with other widgets, this looks way cleaner and the user understands it better. When you just look, you don't have to process this information like graph, utilization, working. You just need to see that this is a working graph for the operator, drone Joe, and this is the other graph for the idle hours that this operator spent. So I'm going to be doing this very quickly for the other widgets as well. So this one is a few charts. It's actually power here for us. I'm going to be switching this as well. And this is also another variable that we're going to be changing, that it's called fuel total. So it's power in this case. I'm going to be calling power total, or total power actually. So this is why it's a very good tip for customizing your applications. You might not see it everywhere, but it's really good to do because we have, again, graph utilization working. So we can just change it to working. And have a few other variables here. I'm going to click on the cog for these individually. So this is idle. And you can see that this color for this bar chart, which is represented here, can also be seen on this accent color here. So you don't have to click on either on all cogs to see which color this variable uses. You can just look at this thin bar right here. So I'm going to be changing the last value for utilization. And now here we go. We have all of our labels customized and our dashboard looks very clean. So I'm going to be doing the last customization for this dashboard, which is to do the same as the other one, which is the background color. And I'm going to be going to tabs and changing the tab color as well. So I have the same colors as the other dashboard. And I'm going to be doing the same for this here, which is to change the saturation to 25%, which is the value I've chosen for the other one as well. So now we have our dashboards fully customized, and we can move on to our next step, which is customizing our run application. So I'm going to be showing you a default run right now. I'm going to be refreshing the page here. You can see that this is the default run. It's what you get when you create your run. It has this light color for the sidebar. It has a light color here as well. It looks very similar to admin. So if you think about it, it doesn't look consistent. My application looks like my eyes are focusing on this because it's way too bright. So we can configure this as well. If we go into the run page, we can see that this is a fairly basic run. I only changed the title and changed the subtitle as well. For our application, it's a drone monitoring app. So it's just a fairly simple run. If you want to follow this along, all you need is a very basic run, an access policy for the devices and dashboards on the application, and a run user matching the tags. But as another side note, since I can't cover this here, we have also a really good webinar covering how to set up your run applications, and it's also available to watch on our YouTube channel. Anyway, since we already have our run set up, we're good to go. So the main part we're going to be looking into right now is the theme tab. This is our new feature that just rolled out this week. It's called Run Colors. So you can choose a theme for your application. And if you have customized a run before, you can recognize some of this. You could customize the sign up page and the sign-in page previously. It's just everything now it's in the same tab. But we also added a lot of configuration that you can do with different colors and different buttons and sections of the page. And you can see that I'm going to be skipping the sign up page since we already have it. We already had it previously. And I'm going to be focusing on the new additions that's where the main pain points we are going to have here. We have a preview. It's the dashboard does not relate to the dashboards we are seeing, but we can see that we have a few sections like sidebar and navigation bar and accounts menu. If you don't understand what these mean, you can look at this light bulb icon and it shows you exactly where in the application you are going to be customizing the colors. So sidebar is the sidebar, which is this left part here where we have on your run, we have buttons for sidebar buttons. And in admin, we have all of our pages. The navigation bar is on the top, which is here. And the account menu is this menu right here. You can also see in this light bulb. It's very helpful. So what I'm going to be doing here is to change the same sidebar color to the color we have predefined, which is this. You can see that our text matches the contrast here. So since we have chosen a dark color, the color of the text is white. If I choose a lighter background, it matches. So it's very simple to configure, and you don't have to configure a ton of colors. You have a few main colors and you can see it in the preview, how it looks. I'm going to be selecting the same colors as before. I'll just give a few touches in a few points, like this buttons here. I will select the same main color, this purple tone, but I will also change it a little bit just to make it a little bit darker. So since it gives a nice contrast, it's very small here, but I'm going to be showing it just in a few seconds. For the other colors that we have here, notification amounts, it's this badge that counts the amount of notifications you have. It looks quite nice this way. I'm not going to change it. And the colors for the text and icons are white, so we can see it right above. For the icons, we can change it as well. So if I change it to red, for instance, we can see that it changed the color. It doesn't look good, so I'm going to change it back to white since it fits well with our theme. For the account menu, I'm just going to change the color to this same dark background I have chosen, and the color of the button to the color purple. So you can see in our preview that everything looks well put together. So I'm going to save in it my run application here. And as soon as it saves, I can see that my run is updated. And now we have this dark background here, and our navigation bar color matches the color we have selected. And the buttons are a bit darker, which makes them pop out a little bit. So we can see that there are buttons and not just part of the design. But we still have this bar here. And if we look into my accounts, it's also very bright here. So it doesn't really match our theme. What I'm going to be doing now is configuring this as well. We have this other tab in the theme section, which is pages. In these pages, we can configure the page content background, which you can see here, it's the main section, and the page header, which usually is where the dashboard title goes in. I'm going to be selecting our dark background, and I'm going to be selecting it again. For the tab accents color, which is the small detail here over the selected tab, I'm going to be selecting the purple color. Okay, I'm going to be saving this now. It's a good tip as well is to incrementally make changes to your application so you can see how it works and not do it everything at once. Since we have a lot of configuration here, it can get a bit confusing if you do everything at once. Since I've made these changes, I saw what was bothering me, which was this light color here, and now it looks way better. Our application looks way cleaner. And I can see that in this My Account page, when our end users come to configure their profile, I can see that the page background also turns to a darker color. And the accent is this thin line right here. And everything looks nice. I'm not going to be covering the other tabs in detail, and I'm going to be telling you why. This tab is for buttons. Buttons are used in form widgets. Since our dashboard doesn't have a form widget, we won't be able to see it. But in this account settings page, we have this button here. We can customize the color of this button as well. So our application is fully customizable now. Run colors is a great feature. It's very simple to use, and it's nicely documented if you want to look at our documentation. So the other tab we have is General. General covers some elements that are not uncommon, but are very specific. You can customize a lot of colors since we provide all of these settings here. You can customize the loading circle, which is what you really don't like to see, but it happens. So we have a loading circle here. I can change it to something like red, or I can use our color purple here. I'm just going to be showing this, select this color, and I'm going to save. And I'm going to be covering a few of these other options. The drop downs are some menu selectors that you have here. For instance, this one, you can customize the color of this as well. You can customize your form elements by coming here in the background and text. You can customize the color when error messages pop. You can customize the alerts. These alerts are very important if you use forms. If you are using the form widget, it's a good practice to have some validation fields. Validation fields can tell your user that some information is not correct, or can show success messages when an operation is finalized. So you can change the color of these alerts as well. So you can see that everything is customizable in your own application and not only dashboards. So as another important point that I have to bring up, it's that dashboards are individually customized. If you customize a dashboard on admin, it will be customized on your Run mobile app, and it will be customized in your Run like this. If you don't customize the dashboards individually, it will not work. We have two pieces that we have to customize to fully customize your application. It's the Run interface, which is basically everything around here, the sidebar, the navigation bar, the title bar, and some other sections like I just mentioned. And you have to customize your dashboard and your widgets. These two go hand in hand to fully enhance your applications, making them more professional and cleaner looking in general. Okay. I see we don't have any questions for now, so I'm going to be moving on to our last step of the presentation. So we can see that the dashboard looks the way we want. The Run application looks the way we want. So what do we have left to do? There are a few things we can do. Like I can customize the sign up page like I didn't do. We can put a nice background, which can be an image. We can change the color here to the same color as we had before, right? I can select the color for my sign up page. I can change the logo by going here and placing our image. We can use files in admin to upload files here, and we have them nicely hosted. They're very fast to load. Another step that we have to do is customize our domain. The domain of our application, as you can see here right at the top, is dronemonitoringtest.run.tago.io. If you have a custom domain, such as bycompany.com, you can customize this, and it works exactly like a white label. You can just customize your run, and then you can customize your domain, and everything for your users will not look like Tago, it will look like yours. So for this, I'm going to be switching back to the slides here. And the starting point of the custom domain is the purchase. For this, you can go to the billing page, and right below at the bottom of the page, you can see that we have the custom domain add-on. Once you click this, we can see that we have a profile called My Application. And if we click on this box, we are going to be directed into this modal, and we can select the profile we want to purchase the custom domain for. Custom domain add-ons are purchased per profile. Since you have to customize each of your applications by a profile, you can purchase a domain just for one of your applications and have another test application, or if you have a lot of clients and some of them do not want a custom domain. But since we're just going to be showing the overall process, we're going to be selecting my application here. And then you'll be directed to this other modal. In this modal, you just have to certify that you own and have management access to your domain. TagoIO does not provide the domain registry. You have to have purchased my custom domain at some domain registry, such as any one of the available ones. After you have completed the purchase, you have to go to the profile and open the run page. This process previously was not automated. You had to open a ticket and provide the information via the ticket, and it was a bit time consuming as well. So we have automated, and it's way faster to do. You just have to finish your purchase, and then you access the run for the profile you have purchased the custom add-on for. And you have to fill this form. Here you enter your domain, such as mycompany.com. You can put admin or portal, and then you select the email you want to use. The default is mycompany.com. but you can choose to use your subdomain as well. After this step, you have only to confirm it, and then you will be directed to this screen. This screen provides the DNS records you have to configure on your DNS provider. This is a very simple process. You just go to your domain provider and input these values. But we also have a link here, right at the top, you can see, which is learned about DNS configuration. If you click on this link, after you have configured your domain, you'll be directed to our documentation, which covers how to use these DNS records to configure your custom domain add-on. Okay, so I'll be finishing my part of this presentation right now. If you want to cover the remaining reminder of the webinar, Thiago, back to you.
Sure. Thank you, Klaus. Thank you for the great presentation. I think it was really clear. This was some amazing changes that we did. And I hope that we shared them in detail. But again, if anyone has any questions, we're going to be posting this webinar soon. And we can recap all those details in order to build a beautiful application. It doesn't look like we have any questions or concerns. So I think we are in good shape, Klaus. I would like to thank everybody to join the webinar. And thank you, Klaus, for the presentation, and I'll see each other next time.